Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Julia's Trucka Cafe Trucka News Hour. Happy Hump Day. I hope everybody is doing well. I have to say, I'm looking rough this evening. Just got off of working 12 hours, and hopefully, my associates here in the office, cats, will behave themselves, that I won't have to be right back to scold them because they love to go ahead and make a stink when I'm trying to do this. So, as always, I have lots of news to get to, so let's get right to it. In our first story, a family of a driver that was crushed against a loading dock, like I spoke about last week, says of the situation, the family says it makes no sense of what happened. The family of a truck driver killed in an accident at a bottling plant in Texas says the accident makes no sense and feels there's a lot of inconsistencies. 39-year-old Arian Vargas died on Friday, January 24th at the Niagara bottling plant in Seguin, Texas, after he was crushed by a tractor trailer that backed into the dock after receiving instructions to do so from one of the workers. According to the local news, he was at the plant to pick up a load, but it's unclear why he was out of his truck or why he was standing so close to the dock door. Quote, it just makes no sense. My brother, he's very on top of everything. I don't see, he wouldn't stand behind a truck if he sees the lights are in reverse or if a truck is on. I don't see him doing that, and I just need closure, said his brother Kevin. There's just a lot of questions, there's a lot of inconsistencies right now, and until we know for sure, he can't get closure. He recently moved to Texas from California, the gentleman that passed, seeking a better life for his 7 children, all the ages between the ages of 1 and 15. As of Monday morning, the police department had not released any updates on their investigation into the incident. And in this next story, a truck driver cited for rear-ending a Wyoming DOT snowplow. The Wyoming Department of Transportation is asking drivers to pay extra attention following a semi-truck versus a snowplow collision that occurred over last weekend. This article was written the 27th of January. This collision occurred around 11:30 in the morning on January 25th on Interstate 80 around mile marker 332 near Lone Tree, Wyoming. According to their local news, a plow operator was clearing drifts in the passing lane on eastbound Interstate 80 when it was rear-ended by a semi. No injuries were reported, but YDOT said the crash caused extensive damage to the sander on the rear of the plow. They said the truck driver was cited. Officials said that this is the 9th plow to be hit this season in Wyoming. People just aren't paying attention. You want to go flying down the damn interstate and these kind of conditions, and you can't see where the hell you're going, but you're going to have your damn foot to the floor. They remind drivers to be mindful when driving in winter conditions. This includes checking road conditions before traveling, driving at a speed suitable for the conditions, and watching for snow plows, says the agency. And Bridgestone Firestone is to lay off 700 workers there as they're closing their Tennessee plant. Hundreds of workers in Tennessee will face layoffs in the coming months as a major tire manufacturer plans to close a plant permanently this summer. Bridgestone America has announced the closure of the Laverne, Tennessee truck and bus radial tire plant effective July 31st, 2025. This decision is part of the company's strategic initiatives to optimize its business footprint. In other words, you're losing freaking money, so we're going to have to close a plant, and a bunch of people are going to be laid off because we can't afford to pay you. Pretty much. And enhance the quality of company U.S. operations. The plant closure will impact 700 Bridgestone workers, said the company. Decisions like this are not easy because of the impact it has on our teammates and their families. Wah, 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 wah. You giving them severance packages? You know, we are confident that this decision will strengthen our core business, enabling us to operate more efficiently. Yeah, because you're gonna what? You're gonna get robots in there instead? I'm not just saying, just speculation on my part on what's going on. But yeah, 700 people out of work. So, and then, you know, their tires aren't the greatest and aren't the cheapest in the world either. And talk about a frivolous lawsuit, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Buc-ee's, you know, the big nationwide Buc-ee's that has gas stations with like 40 freaking gas pumps only for cars, no trucks are allowed, is suing a mom and pop gas station that only has 2 stations for ill-gotten gains through use of a similar logo. Now, if you haven't seen Buc-ee's logo, let me show you. This is Buc-ee's logo, okay? Buc-ee's logo is on the left. The mom and pop shop that they're suing is on the right. Do they look even remotely similar to you? Okay, they're both brown, and they both got a little white spot on their nose. The one on the left, that's Buc-ee. That's a beaver, whatever he is, you know, with the buck teeth and the baseball cap. The one on the right is a puppy dog with bent ears, and he's got a cape on. Don't look anything like Buc-ee's. My humble opinion, my humble opinion, they want to close them down. They probably want that corner lot or whatever. So, let me read the article. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Buc-ee's is claiming copyright infringement against a small gas station in the Dallas area due to their similar logo. Buc-ee's filed a lawsuit, U.S. District Court, claiming the logo used by Superfuels is too similar to the Buc-ee's beaver. The Superfuels logo is a brown dog in a cape, as mentioned. The lawsuit states Superfuels logo features an anthropomorphic and cartoon representation of a smiling animal that closely resembles a beaver. Really? Which is similarly positioned in a right-facing angle and depicted in front of a circular background. Really? That's the similarities? Really? The suit also points out the Superfuels dog is wearing similar clothing and has a similar expression. Buc-ee's claims that the similarity of the logo may confuse customers, leading to a loss in sales for Buc-ee's. As big as you are, and you're worried about a little mom and pop shop in Texas. How it just boggles the mind. The suit calls for a permanent injunction to stop Superfuels from using the dog logo. The suit also demands that Superfuels pay Buc-ee's for any ill-gotten gains, that the company destroy all signs, packaging, and other merchandise featuring the dog logo. They own 2 locations, one in Dallas and one in Irving, Texas. Really, they're really such a hindrance to you. They're really going to take your business away. Buc-ee's, come on. Let's get real. On to the next story. That's just irks me to no end. It just really reminds me of Walmart when they closing mom and pop shops as soon as they moved into the area. And 8 are arrested in California trucking conspiracy to smuggle in 200 million in illegal cargo from China. California prosecutors say that 8 people have been arrested in connection with a scheme to smuggle hundreds of millions of dollars in illegal items from China through U.S. through the Los Angeles area ports. Federal law enforcement arrested 8 people for an alleged conspiracy among logistics company executives, warehouse owners, truck drivers to bring counterfeit and other illegal goods from China to the U.S., according to a statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California. 9 defendants have been charged with conspiracy, smuggling, break-in customs seals. 1 individual still remains at large. I am not going to even try to pronounce these people's names. They list them all. A bunch of and this is quite a long article, but you get the idea. Trying to transport, bypassing the ports and everything to bring the products into this country. And truck parking availability system goes online on I-10 in Arizona and the rest areas. On Monday, the Arizona Department of Transportation announced the launch of a real-time system to inform truckers about truck parking availability at the I-10 rest areas in western and southeastern parts of Arizona. According to January 27th announcement from their DOT, it was installed in eastbound and westbound Ehrenberg and Booz Wash rest areas between the Valley in California and the Texas Canyon and San Simon rest areas serving both directions of I-10. The $2.8 million system uses monitoring systems to track available parking and share that information with those electronic signs that you see on the interstates are saying rest area so many miles ahead, so many spots are available, or spots that are low in availability, those kind of things. So it'll be also added to the az511.gov website. They're part of a larger effort to expand truck parking availability in Arizona, because there's not a lot on I-10 down there. Been there, did that, didn't get a t-shirt. And in this story, a semi-truck doesn't smack. It says smacks into suspended dump bed. No, it crashed into a suspended dump bed left behind by a dump truck underneath the bridge. Okay, so that's the cab of the truck. You don't see a hood. And that's the motor. And then it went straight up along the cab, and as you see in this next slide, right down the trailer. That accordion looking thing that looks like a shutter, that's the dump truck bed. He forgot to lower it. The dump truck driver forgot to lower it when he went in under the bridge. And when it hit one of the cross members of the bridge, it came off the chassis of the dump truck. And here comes Warner didn't see it and plowed right into it. I hate to be that driver right about now. Let me tell you what, that is not a good thing. And my cats are at it again. They just don't want me to do this. I swear. Oh, you gotta enjoy a live stream, you know it? Anyway, back to the news. I-20 eastbound shut down for cleanup after a semi-truck plows into construction equipment. There you go. A portion of Interstate 20 near Atlanta was shut down for cleanup of an accident involving a semi-truck in a construction zone. This happened Tuesday morning on Interstate 20, last Tuesday, east of Wesley Chapel Road in DeKalb County near Atlanta. According to the local news, semi-truck ran off the interstate and crashed into some construction equipment. One person was hurt. The reason behind the crash was not determined at the time of writing of this article. Crews are still working to figure out the best way to remove the wrecked semi-truck from the construction zone, and no further information has been provided. Now, if you take a break just a second, if you would like to comment, anybody that's watching on Rumble and Facebook, please leave your comments underneath this live stream on any story that you would like. I read them all. I'll reply back. YouTube as well. So if you have any comments on the live stream, or you're watching this on YouTube, please, you're welcome to leave comments in the chat or make a comment underneath the live stream. I greatly appreciate it. And I greatly appreciate everybody who watches me weekly, trying to stumble through this and see. One thing is, real quickly, I digress, I do everything myself, from doing the live stream, figuring all this out, to getting a decent background behind me. That is actually my wall here in my office, that I have these two paintings on each side of me. And I do all of the slides myself. I find all the articles myself. I do all the research myself. I had to figure all this out myself. I don't have a big production company, and plus I still do the audio podcast as well for my listeners that have been with me, for the last 7.5 years. I haven't been on YouTube that much. I'm trying to be more consistent on YouTube. That's why the hat and everything today, because it was just an off day, bad day today, but I'm planned on being here this evening, so this is my work mode. Let me get my arrow off of me. This is definitely my work mode. So back to the story. A trucker was pulled from the water alive after a semi-truck plummets off the twin span down in Nolens. Truck driver survived a dangerous plunge off the twin span bridge in Nolens on Tuesday afternoon. The incident happened about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on westbound Interstate 10, halfway across the twin span bridge back last week Tuesday. According to local news, the tractor trailer went over the bridge railing and crashed into the water below. Yeah, you kind of see that. Authorities say that one person was pulled from the water alive. Their current condition was not known at the time of the writing of this article. No further information on the accident was released. And I believe, let's see, I have another story on this. Yeah, there was also chaos of the twin span bridge crash cleared as crews lift the box truck out of the water, determined no other vehicles were involved. Emergency crews have determined that a single box truck was involved in this crash off the twin span. The incident happened, there again, according to a box truck. Local news, a box truck was driving in the far right lane when it struck a flatbed truck and went off the bridge, landing in the water below. The driver then managed to escape the cab of the box truck and was picked up by a boater who happened to be nearby. Box truck driver has since been taken to the hospital for treatment. his injuries were considered life-threatening. So, yeah, that was both parts of that story. And a trial begins for a driver that's accused of killing 7 people in a wreck while high on meth. Lovely. I mean, how you gonna pass the drug screen, random drug screen? A truck driver accused of killing 7 people went on trial on Tuesday for a 2023 wreck. That accident happened on May 18th of 2023 on Interstate 5 near Albany, Oregon. 54-year-old truck driver accused of killing 7. Lincoln Smith was driving on I-5 when he crashed into a van at full speed, pushing it into another semi-truck. 7 of the 11 people inside of the van were killed in the crash. After the accident, Smith admitted to using drugs the day before the crash. Last Tuesday, he appeared in Marion County, Oregon courthouse on 7 counts of manslaughter and 3 counts of assault. Chose to use methamphetamine the day before driving through the state of Oregon on I-5, said the prosecutor. Smith's attorneys argued that he was no longer under influence at the time of the crash. It does not get out of your system in 24 hours. Not that I know of. They claimed that he was fatigued and fell asleep while looking for a place to pull off of I-5 when the accident occurred. We intend to show that the state will not be able to meet their burden, that they will not be able to prove the mental state, said his defense attorney. And his defense argues that it must be found guilty. It should be a lesser charge of criminally negligent homicide. They're trying to plea it down, is what they're trying to do, in my humble opinion. And Nashville police are looking to identify a motorist in a deadly shooting dash cam video that was captured by a truck driver. Now, there again, as a refresher, because I'm streaming multiple platforms, YouTube always does a copyright strike if I try to play any kind of video or anything to show you all what's going on. You can Google this to, find out. This was mainly on, this was on X. Police are asking for help in identifying a motorist involved in a deadly shooting on a nearby trucker's dash cam in Nashville. This happened around January 12th on I-40 near Fessler's Lane in Nashville. A minivan was seen following a silver sedan closely on I-40 before changing lanes right in front of the semi that was recording everything. The motorist in the minivan then pulled up alongside the sedan it was tailing and fired shots at the sedan driver. Then the minivan sped off. 26-year-old Uriel Miller was killed in the shooting. Police say the suspect is armed and dangerous and are looking to identify them as soon as possible. The minivan is believed to be a 2015 Honda Odyssey. Anyone with information on the car or the shooter or incident, or if you know about the incident, is encouraged to call Crime Stoppers at 615-742-7463. That's 615-742-7463. And any kind of tips or anything you have, if you were in the area and you saw what happened or know about, or somebody's bragging, anything like that, please, help out if you can. And we have an ice pick bandit running around. And he strikes again with no rhyme or reason. The ice pick bandit is still at large after being caught on camera again at a truck stop he targeted back in September. Most recently targeted semi trucks at South Fork Truck Stop in Gurdon, Gurdon, Arkansas, during the night between January 19th and 20th. The second attack at the same truck stop makes for 296 tires slashed on 40 trucks. The Logan County Sheriff says there's no rhyme or reason for his actions. We just can't figure out the motivation of this guy. Watson says the most recent footage of the ice pick bandit shows a red truck believed to be his getaway vehicle. In light of the second attack, the Southport Truck Stop Management says the business is working on getting higher resolution cameras installed as a way to either deter further attacks or identify him. Hopefully, we can catch him red handed before he attacks the next time. A truck stop in nearby Hazen was also targeted on the same night. Watson says the ice pick bandit would be safer to just turn himself in because if he's caught by truck drivers, it will not turn out really good. They'd love to catch him and put a whooping on his ass, Watkins said. Yeah, tires are $800 a pop, and he's going around, and it takes a lot of strength to, with an ice pick even, to jam it into a sidewall or anything like that in a tire. You gotta have some muscle behind it. That's not easy. And in this story, an inspection reveals that a semi truck with a wobbly tire wheel only had half of its lug nuts still on. As I pull up the story, a truck driver's been charged after an inspection revealed he was missing multiple lug nuts on one of his wheels. Incident happened. Now, for those of you that don't drive a truck and are watching this, trucks and trailers, especially the back two axles of the trailer, they have what they call duals. So it's two tires side by side, like a dually. Well, if you're familiar with the dually, you only have one set of lug nuts on. You have the long studs, and then you have the one set of lug nuts to hold both tires on. So if this guy only had half the lug nuts, both tires would be wobbling back and forth and could snap off any of those studs and cause a really bad wreck. And this is another reason why I never like cars riding right next to me, right beside, right at, like, here's my truck and here's the car, like right next to my ICC bumper, because you never know what's going to happen. This kind of stuff, you don't see that going down the highway. This incident happened actually in Ontario, Canada. A citizen called police after noticing had a wobbling rear wheel and it appeared to be close to coming off. The officer soon located the semi and pulled it over to conduct an inspection. The driver was only 24 years old, been charged with operating an unsafe motor vehicle with a major defect and failure to accurately conduct a pre-trip inspection. He's scheduled to appear in court on March 18th. The officers in Canada remind all commercial vehicle operators to conduct thorough daily inspections and promptly address any safety defects. Incidents involving wheel detachment or wheel defects pose serious risk to all road users, as I just mentioned. Could be extremely dangerous. And look this was a great parking job in this next story. What do y'all think about that? You can leave a comment in the chat or in the comment section. This happened out in California. And of course, the officer had to scold the truck driver for an incredible parking job that left the big rig wedged in a ditch. Now, where those are the back tandems, like I was just talking about, that's a retaining wall. In California, Highway Patrol is asking truckers to take extra care securing their vehicles when parking following a driver's misadventure in Simi Valley. The incident began around 6:30 in the morning on Tuesday, January 28th at State Route 118 westbound west of Uringer Road in Simi Valley. According to the local news, a truck driver attempted to park at a dirt lot between Simi Town Center Way and State Route 118, but when he unhooked the trailer, the cab of the truck plummeted into a ditch and came to a stop suspended in the air, wedged between some trees and a retaining wall. So, in other words, he went backwards. No, at least the trucker didn't get hurt. The truck driver company attempted to recover the stuck truck for about an hour, but when their attempts were unsuccessful, they contacted the Simi Valley Police Department, who in turn contacted, of course, Highway Patrol. 2 heavy-duty tow trucks were brought in to help recover the truck from the ditch. So yeah, they had to go up and over the trees and everything else to try to pick it up and then put it back on the highway. It's never a dull moment in the trucking industry. I'm telling you. Listen to my show to stay in the know what's going on out here. And a trucking trainer waited 40 minutes to call 911 for a motorist burned to a crisp in a wreck. Police are still investigating this incident involving a truck driver trainer and his trainee failing to call 911 after a fatal wreck with a Jeep. This happened last year. This happened back in November. According to the local news, the Jeep was traveling eastbound at Hagman Road when it veered into the opposite lane right in front of this oncoming semi. The Jeep then struck one of the axles of the semi before veering off the roadway and flipping. The car then reportedly caught fire, and a 75-year-old motorist, Samuel Reed Gray, died in the incident. The truck driver and his trainee stopped for the wreck for about 12 minutes without calling 911. During that time, the truck driver notified a safety advisor about the crash, but did not mention that the motorist had died in the incident. The trainee took photos of the crash scene, but later told officers he did not argue when his trucking trainer told him they were leaving. About 40 minutes and 5 miles after leaving the scene of the crash, the truck driver finally decided to call 911. In the call to 911, the driver mentioned that the Jeep driver was burned to a crisp. When the dispatcher asked the truck driver to return to the scene, he told them he could not because he had run out of gas looking for a safe place to stop. That's malarkey. They later found a semi-truck 5 miles away from the crash scene. The truck driver and his trainee have not been named because formal charges are yet to be filed against them. Investigators say the trainee may also be liable for the accident because in leaving the scene, he aided the driver in hiding their involvement with the crash. Yeah, you don't leave the scene of the crash. That's leaving a scene of an accident. That's a big no-no. You don't do that, people. You just don't. In a car, in a semi, in a bus, don't matter. Just don't pull that. He wasn't at fault. The guy came up and hit him. So what was the trainer thinking? It's a good way to teach your trainee. Yeah, just you're involved in a wreck, just go ahead and leave. You know, it's okay. No, it's not. Sorry, I had the wrong story pulled up, so just gonna be a second. New U.S. DOT boss promises to prioritize practical solutions over far left agendas. This week, newly sworn in U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy issued a statement indicating a major policy shift for American transportation industry, promising to rescind woke policies and to advance economic development. Now, this Duffy, he's a lawyer. OIDA loves him. Don't know why. He's a logger from Wisconsin, um, was in the logging thing or something I read under, if you look him up under the uh, Department of Transportation. And he's an attorney. He didn't know nothing about the trucking industry. So on January 29th, Duffy issued a sweeping statement pointing towards radical changes for USDOT from the policies promoted by the Biden administration and former USDOT Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Duffy promised to rescind woke policies, roll back burdensome and costly regulations, restore economic growth, and ensure that all USDOT policies align with the Trump administration priorities. So he was strongly endorsed during the confirmation process by the owner of OOIDA for his previous support for the small business truckers. They're gonna plug OOIDA in this article. I don't agree with that at all. Get somebody as the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary that knows trucking, that was a truck driver or owned his own trucking company or something to that effect. This guy was a freaking logger and a reality show star. Well, him and his wife. What does that have to do with the Department of Transportation? That's what the hell I want to know. Good Lord. I'm like, really? And in this story, Texas Transportation Authority and others launch an can't say it on YouTube, transportation campaign focused on the transportation of men and boys. The Texas Trucking Association has partnered with several organizations to launch an anti-transportation campaign aimed at spreading awareness about the prevalence of male victims. Boy, that startled me. Sorry about that. They partnered with Bob's House of Hope and Titus Transport as part of the Boys and Young Men Are Transported to initiative. This initiative was announced on January 29th on the south steps of the Texas Capitol. The anti-transportation campaign will feature stickers designed to be placed on the back of semi-trucks with a hotline number. Advertising a hotline phone number on Titus Transport trucks is something I'm honored to do. Just the opportunity to save one transported life makes the collaboration worthwhile. I look forward to a long partnership in our effort to save lives. And a motorist snitches, a busybody, I call her, him or her, snitches about a truck going through a toll gate and hiding his license plate. It's none of y'all's damn business, as far as I'm concerned. A trucker is facing charges after a motorist reported him concealing his tag to avoid paying tolls. The motorist contacted Pennsylvania State Police back in December. The trucker is scheduled for a preliminary hearing in March. According to the witness on the PA Turnpike at the Harrisburg East interchange, noticed a commercial vehicle activated device to conceal its license plate before passing through the toll collection area. It's called a tag flipper. You press a button inside, and it's really for cars that go to auction or collector cars, those kind of things. You can flip the tag to show, like a vanity plate, or flip it back for the regular license plate. Yeah, it's a tag flipper, they call it. And license plate then came back into view after the vehicle passed through the booth. So yeah, they're like, well, if I gotta pay, then he gotta pay too. Kind of garbage. Mind your own damn business. And in this story, truckers stop traffic after a pickup fails to secure their load and loses it all over the interstate. A couple of truckers work together to stop traffic after a pickup truck unsecured load scatters across an Alabama interstate. The very beginning of this is on Interstate 65 in Mobile. At the very beginning of the clip, a pickup hauling a trailer loses a whole lot of something all over 65 and just keeps on going. Multiple cars, trucks, and other vehicles dodge the debris till a man in a neon safety jacket pulls onto the shoulder and cleans up the mess the best he can while traffic is still flowing. One trucker then a second stop in the middle of the highway, blocking the flow of traffic in the lanes plagued by most of the debris. This allowed the man to successfully and more safely clear the stuff out of the road. Then a work truck pulls up on the other side of the highway, and the man hops at the concrete barrier, helping the first man out until the job is done. Without those two truckers stopping traffic, it could have been a whole lot worse. So, good job, fellas. And a man is in critical condition after falling into a tanker lined with pork fat residue. Ooh, oh, oh, ooh. Yuck. Yuck. Slime. Can we say slime? Remember that green slime? Can we? Ugh. Yeah. A man is in critical condition after falling into a tanker previously filled with pork fat at a trailer wash facility in Kentucky. This happened at Louisville Trailer Wash in Louisville. A worker at the trailer wash business fell into the tanker trailer, which was previously filled with pork fat. Fire department had to be called and was able to enter the tanker. The worker was pulled from the tanker by an hour later. Emergency crews then performed CPR on the man before he was eventually transported to a nearby hospital where he is reportedly in critical condition. The man had only been identified as a worker at the trailer wash. The incident is under investigation. And, well, I mean, if it's pork fat and it could have had, these tankers, you got your silver tanker, depending upon what kind of tanker it is. And I'm thinking it's the kind like for milk or whatever. So it could be aluminum and it's smooth-sided. Okay, it's not like a bulk tank that comes down. Okay, and so it's smooth-sided. Then you got a ladder up the side, and then on the top is the hatch or multiple hatches. And if that is got that pork fat on it, that's like putting Pam in a frying pan. You're gonna, no matter how careful you are, you're gonna slip and fall. But to fall that far, that's a good ways to fall. I don't know how many feet. I'm not gonna even hazard a guess. But next time you go by a tanker down the interstate, you just picture this guy slipping and falling inside of there, and could have smacked his head or done anything. I mean, it's ridiculous. And there's a new scam out. Imagine that. The Fed is warning drivers about an unpaid toll scam. You get a text message. The Federal Trade Commission recently issued a warning to the public about an uptick in scammers pretending to be tolling agencies. In a January 17th memo, the FTC said that Americans from coast to coast are at risk of falling for an unpaid toll phishing scam. Quote, you get a text out of the blue that says you have unpaid tolls and need to pay them immediately. The scammy text might show a dollar amount for how much you supposedly owe, and include a link that takes you to a page to enter your bank or credit card info. But it's a phishing scam. Not only is a scammer trying to steal your money, but if you click the link, they could get your personal info like your driver's license number and even steal your identity, officials said. So, beware of that. Don't click on any links. Delete the text messages. You'll get a letter in the mail. It's always by mail. You'll get a letter in the mail. And finally, oops. Love's Truck Stop in Texas welcomes their first ever Whataburger this year. So you go around the country and you go into Love's Truck Stop, and some of them's got a Sonic, most of them's got Subway. Gets kind of old after about 5-10 years. So Texas is famous for Whataburger. I believe they're in Oklahoma too. You can comment in the chat or in the comments if they are in Oklahoma as well. And but now they're going to include one in the Loves in Texas. So cool beans. Let's see which truck stop in Loves. Love's Travel Stops will open popular burger chain restaurant location in one of its Texas stores this year. Company's 2025 growth plans, Love's will add a Whataburger location inside the company's San Antonio, Texas truck stop in late summer or early fall. This will be the first ever Whataburger store to open inside of a Love's location. Whataburger is popular for food items including their signature burger, chicken strips, onion rings, and choice of Whataburger fancy or spicy ketchups. With the opening of the San Antonio store, Love's will now partner with 20 quick service restaurants. Other Love's quick service partners include Bojangles, Subway, Arby's, and Baskin Robbins. The company also announced construction on 20 new stores and will begin remodels on 50 existing locations. They approximately have 1,000 new truck parking spaces adding to its network, surpassing the 50,000 spaces across the country in 2025. So, there we go. I want to, let me get back to where I was. Thank you everybody for joining me again this evening. And I greatly, greatly appreciate all of your continued support. Like I said, every week's going to be something different. Could be a different appearance. Could be trying to do the slide a little bit different. Keep things interesting. But thank you so much for watching. And until next time.